Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. Just a couple of commentaries on things that have been in the news. First of all, I want to talk about Andrew Breitbart and his supposedly mysterious death, which may or may not be mysterious and may or may not be some kind of grand conspiracy. But with all of the talk about his supposed coming revelations against Barack Obama and supposed release of some films that he had on Obama, causes all kinds of wild speculation about perhaps he was murdered to keep him quiet. And this seems to be something that people are very quick to jump to. And sometimes I do it myself. Whenever you have someone who is in the public spotlight, who is bringing forward allegations or threatening the release of information that suddenly dies, certainly highly coincidental in relation to the announcement regarding information coming out about Obama. But everything is not always a conspiracy. And I fall into the trap of looking at that as well. I'm not saying that there isn't one here, but I think that it's highly likely that if Breitbart had any information on Obama, we would have seen some degree of it by now. We would have seen some type of release of this information, or in some fashion, we would know a little bit more about it. And possibly it would be obtainable somewhere else, because after all, he had to get it from somebody. So I'm thinking that this was just basically a publicity stunt on the part of Breitbart, and it just happened to coincide with his death. I don't rule out the fact that he may have had some genuinely extremely damaging material and he may have been killed, but I think that is a less likely scenario in this case. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if anything develops out of this. But I'm thinking that it just was a bad day for Andrew Breitbart, dying shortly after making noise about the release of damaging material on Barack Obama, a.k.a. Barry Soetoro, a.k.a. the legend, the myth that currently occupies the White House. I want to also highlight a story that has not garnered any national attention that I have been able to see, but there is a Pennsylvania man who is claiming that he had a 10-year-long romantic relationship with Rick Santorum, and that their relationship was only broken off when Santorum decided to run for president. Now, I don't know whether this is a hoax, whether the national media is just ignoring it. I don't know the exact circumstances behind this, okay? So I can't verify whether it's true or not. One thing I can tell you that is probably absolutely true is that Rick Santorum is gay as hell. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being homosexual. If that's your lifestyle, if that is how you are, it's perfectly acceptable to me. And it would be perfectly acceptable for Rick Santorum to live that lifestyle if that's his choice. However, the problem that I have with the Knight of Malta, Rick Santorum, is his pathological hatred and attacking of women and homosexuals. And usually whenever you have someone who is pathological in their public denouncements of something, it usually means that they're covering up for some inadequacy or something that they don't like about themselves, i.e., the worst homophobes are usually closet homosexuals. So even if this story is not picked up nationally and it does not create any controversy for Rick Santorum, I can guarantee you, almost to certainty, but of course we can never be certain of anything, that Rick Santorum is in fact gay. And I would hazard a guess and say that this guy is the real deal, but we'll just have to see whether and if it plays out. So, lastly but not least, of course, once again, the Obama birth certificate is once again in the news, and one wonders why this continues to be brought up. Now, Joe Arpaio, the, how would you call him, the curmudgeonly sheriff looking into the so-called long-form birth certificate of Obama, finding it to be 100% a fraud. Well, tell us something we don't know, Joe Arpaio. Look, I've talked about this 100 times, and you need to realize that this is a trap. This goes back to the entire idea of Obama and the fact that he is a completely manufactured myth. He is a fucking legend, okay? You look into his past, the only things that you can glean from it are circumstantial evidence tying him to leftist people like Frank Marshall Davis. There's even the legend that Frank Marshall Davis might be secretly Obama's father. There's the legend that he wasn't born in Hawaii, and in fact may be a British national because he was born in Kenya. There are all of these connections with supposed radicals like Bill Ayers that lent him this supposed leftist legend. But it's all a myth. It's a cover story. That's why Obama was so perfect and so perfectly manicured and invented to be put into office to serve as a leftist destructor of the New Deal and everything about this country that remains, that is designed to help and uplift the people in general, or to serve the behest of the nation as a whole, rather than catering to the ultra-rich, Wall Street, and multinational corporations. So, when I say that he is a legend and a myth, that's exactly what he is. He comes with all of this baggage, and you can see it played out around you every day, where people continue to call Obama a socialist, a Marxist, a communist, etc., etc., when nothing could be fucking further from the truth. It's the biggest joke ever played on the American people. And there are still people who actually believe this legend that was so perfectly packaged for them and given to them, so expertly gift-wrapped with a nice bow on top, that they still cannot see through that legend and myth. So let me tell you again what this whole birth certificate idea is. It is a legend. Okay? He released a deliberately forged birth certificate document. It's deliberately forged. He knows it's forged. He put it out knowing it was forged. Because it's part of the program. Now he knows that there are going to be people who are going to be so incensed and so preoccupied with the legend about Barack Obama and his hidden past and his secret connections and all of the other things. They're bound and determined to prove that he's a Kenyan or whatever else, so that they can supposedly delegitimize him. It's never going to happen. And I'll tell you why. Because even if they ever got into court with any of this, which they never will, but what does it serve to do? It serves to put out the propaganda that Obama is secretly a Marxist and secretly a socialist, and he's just waiting for that moment to bring forth all of these socialist, communist, Marxist programs that are going to tear down the walls of America and make us into some kind of USSA. While he continues his policy of kowtowing and kneeling before his true masters on Wall Street and multinational corporations and the ultra-rich. So, while you, the middle class, continue to focus on the legend and myth around Barack Obama, trying desperately to find some chink to prove that he is a closet socialist, he is systematically wiping away and destroying your fucking Social Security. He is destroying Medicare. He is destroying Medicaid. He is destroying every kind of social program in this country in order to cause the ultra-rich to get even richer and Wall Street to siphon even more money out of your pocket. So you can't even see it happening. And then when you turn around and see that all of this has been raped from you while you've been continuously focused on this stupid myth and legend of Barack Obama, you're going to scratch your head and wonder why. You're serving your own demise by being caught in this trap, because that's what it is a trap. So, if it ever gets into court, which it never will, the birth certificate, then suddenly a real, signed, apparently authentic document will be produced and will be accepted, and there will be some excuse about there was a mix-up and something happened, that the original could not come out, and the whole matter will be rested. Okay, even if that document is itself fake, it will be good enough. It will be expertly manufactured, because it doesn't really matter if Obama is born in Kenya or anywhere else. He's president. That doesn't mean that I, condone the idea that someone who would be, not born in the United States, not being a natural born citizen, being a president of the United States. It's beside the point at this point. Okay? His first term is almost over. What's to be gained by continuing this going down the rabbit hole of who is Barack Obama? All of the relevant records have been sealed, and they've probably been sealed just so people will constantly be niggling around the edges of trying to figure out what it is that he's hiding, rather than looking at what he is fucking doing. So quit wondering what he's fucking hiding and start looking at what he's fucking doing. And forget the myth and the fucking legend and realize what he is. An empty fucking suit filled with Wall Street cash that is systematically destroying this country for the benefit of the ultra-rich and the financial industry and multinational motherfucking corporations. He's not a closet socialist. He's not a closet Marxist. He's not a secret communist. It's even my belief he was born in Hawaii just like he said he was. But it's deliberately left vague and put out there in the public so people will continue to chase after it. Like they're chasing their motherfucking tails. Rather than just focusing on what the fuck is happening in this goddamn country. Get your heads out of your fucking asses. This is all a game, a show, a rabbit trail for you to follow. So you don't even look while he's fucking pulling your wallet out of your fucking pants and stealing your fucking money. Thank you. Good day.